May I now request and invite Commander Navneet Bali to please join us on the stage over here.
I'm going to keep it very short and sweet, but this will be a very good session for all of you. Last year in the HPI Global Conclave, I was told to take a P&L session. And in my hotel, I scribbled down something on my iPad. And this became such a big hit that I go to IIMs now and I talk to hospital owners, and everybody wants me to do this session once more. So here we are. We're going to talk about the profit and loss in a hospital. It's a very complex subject. In fact, made out to be very, very complex. It's actually a very, very simple subject to understand. And so here is an example for all of you to understand, especially youngsters who are sitting here who want to make healthcare their profession, some of the hospital owners, entrepreneurs, whoever wants to look at hospital P&L, here is it in front of you. So the first one figure that you see on top, I've typically kept it at 100 so that the percentages are understood very easily. That's called the top line of a hospital. And top line is the total billing that you do in a hospital. The total bills that you generate, it could be in your HIS, MIS, wherever it is. And let's say that this is a mature hospital, almost 5 to 6 years into the maturity. It's a multi-specialty hospital in a tier 1 city. So I'm just, because every hospital in every different place, specialization, single specialty, multi-specialty has a slightly different P&L. There's a multi-specialty hospital in a tier 1 city, and let's say that it does a monthly revenue of 100. Now 100 could be 100 crores, it could be 100 lakhs, it could be whatever it is. Typically, in a mature hospital, let's say about 5-6 years after its commission, the manpower cost is approximately, let's say, 36% of top line. So that's why that figure 36 comes there. So there are only 3 factors in the cost. One is the manpower cost. Second is the consumption. Consumption is the drugs, consumables, and implants that the hospital uses. And this is a multi-specialty hospital. I've taken a figure of 27. It could vary between 25% to 32%, anywhere between that. So just for you to understand, this hospital has a consumption of 27%. It has all the specialties in the hospital. The next important line item is the overheads. Everything which is not covered in manpower and consumption comes in overheads. For example, your AMC, CMCs, your electrical, housekeeping, security, every other expense comes under overheads. So you have only 3 broad categories of cost line items. One is the manpower cost. Second is the consumption, which is the drugs, consumable, implants. And third is your overheads. Just scroll up a little bit, please. Just take it up. Okay, hold it here. So this particular hospital, just come down a little. So this particular hospital, if you see, our top line was 100, our expenses were 81, and so our EBITDA is nothing but an operational profit, earnings before interest, amortization, your depreciation. So this hospital, which is a multi-specialty hospital, after it has done at maturity, has an EBITDA of 19%. If you go on to the best hospitals in India today, to moneycontrol.com or SEBI, publicly listed hospital, the best hospitals in India are at around 24, 25, at the most 30% EBITDAs, which are usually single specialty hospitals. I'm talking about good corporate hospitals. And some of the hospitals which are not doing so well should be around 12 to 14% EBITDA. So that means when we talk about a hospital doing 40%, 50% EBITDA, please take that figure with great amount of pinch of salt, because a good hospital in a good city does around 19 to 24% EBITDA. Now let's come down to each one of these quickly. Come down a little bit more. Please scroll. All right. So we are at 36% manpower cost. In the 36% manpower cost, the highest one is the doctors. So out of the 36%, 23% of your top line is the doctor cost. And that I've split into a fixed cost and a variable cost, because some of the doctors are on fixed pay scale, some of them are on variable, some of them are on mixed scale. So, and also you can have a look at that your total manpower cost, 63% of your total manpower cost is doctor cost in a hospital. So doctor cost is a major and a massive cost in a hospital. The nurses are at 5%, paramedics at 3%, and administration is a 5% cost. So what I'm trying to say that except for the admin cost, which lean hospitals will try to cut it, the nurses and the paramedics are non-negotiable costs. It is the doctor cost which is the largest cost, And when I come a little bit ahead, maybe 2 minutes later, we'll talk about what should be done here. And also out of the total percentage, 63% of your manpower is doctors. Please come down. Now let's talk a little bit about overheads. So overheads can be divided into 3 items: fixed, variable, and semi-variable overheads. I won't go deep into it, but just to take an example, that the largest 2-3 overheads in your hospital are your housekeeping, security, your AMC, CMC of equipment after the machines have expired their guarantee and warranty period, especially hospitals which have got linear accelerators, MRIs, CTs, which are high cost equipment. The AMC, CMC cost goes up as the equipment progresses. So this is around 18% of your top line. 18% of your top line in a good corporate hospital is overheads. Come down further, please. This is the most important one which I want to talk, especially when you want to run efficient hospitals. Let us say that our manpower cost we don't want to touch. Overheads, I'll talk about it slightly later, is your consumption. This is the elephant in the room in every hospital. Consumption can vary between 25% to 32%, and this consumption can be divided into what you bill to the patient and what is the departmental consumption. Departmental consumption is all those items which you're not billing to the patient, but you're still using in the hospital. Gauze pieces, some gloves which your nurses are using, doctors are using, certain disinfectants that you're using. All that comes under your consumption. Good hospitals, when they want to do well, is one of the main line items that they look at is consumption. Just come down, please. I'll come to the profitability slightly later. Now, which are those specialties which are consumption high in a hospital? So when you're setting up a hospital, please remember medical oncology, intervention neurology, cardiology, and orthopedics are consumption heavy because orthopedics and cardiology use stents, implants. Intervention neurology, the consumption, if not being very proper, can go up to 70%, the coils, etc., that you use, especially for Ayushman Bharat patients and scheme patients. You have to be very, very careful there. Imagine a patient who gives you 100 rupees, and 70 rupees is consumption. You're left with nothing at all when you do intervention neurology. And so it's a very, very consumption high. Medical oncology, because the drugs constitute a huge amount of your total bill of the patient. So all hospitals which have these 4 specialties predominant in them will find that the consumption is slightly higher than the normal consumption. Now the question comes, in the end I will just touch upon cash flow. The question comes, how do you make a hospital efficient? Just go up once more to P&L. So all of you who want to start hospitals, all of you are running hospitals, all of you are thinking of running efficient hospitals, since doctors have to be paid well, there is no doubt about it, but you'll have to look at the great amount of balance between hiring star doctors, which are at very, very high cost, or hiring other doctors who are clinically outstanding, especially in hospitals which do not have very deep pockets, and making them do whatever they want to do and slowly and steadily moving up. Look at doctors who are visiting consultants, who are outstanding doctors but come and do surgeries and then they're paid whatever they're paid. I'm not at all talking about reducing what you pay to a doctor. No, not at all, because they are the ones who actually run the healthcare. But you have to be very, very smart. So for example, let us say this 36% manpower cost, you can bring it down to, let us say, 32%, and it's 100 crore per month turnover of hospital. You can imagine how much money you can save. In overheads, please remember negotiating hard with the companies for AMC, CMCs, which is a massive cost, actually speaking. A linear accelerator, AMC, CMC in the 8th year is close to 40 to 60 lakhs a year. So imagine, let's say you have a small hospital which is doing cancer, has put a linear accelerator, imagine the amount of money that is going. But the best way to actually look at your cost very prudently is your consumption. Look at your department consumption, because there you're not billing it to the patient. Please tell your departments to become super efficient. Do not scrounge on things which affect your habitability and this one of the hospital, like housekeeping material, etc., etc. That is one thing. Second, everything works in healthcare through your doctors, everything. So please have a word with the doctors, especially on consumption. Surgeons, medical oncologists, to use the drugs which Ayushman Bharat may not pay. Look at certain immunotherapy drugs, for example. I mean, they have very, very low margins, and then you're going to land up in trouble. My last point today is on cash flows. Let's see an Ayushman Bharat patient which Sir was talking about. The problem with Ayushman Bharat, I mean, he spoke all the good things. Let me also look at the other side of the story. Let's say instead of rupees 100 that you actually have billed, you're never going to pay 100 rupees. You're going to pay 90 or 80 rupees. Let's say you're paid 90 rupees. Out of your 19 rupees, you already lost 10 rupees. Then that money will come to you 6 months later. And when money comes 6 months later and a hospital doesn't have a cash flow, what is it going to do? And you're seeing n number of examples across country where you have this problem. The solution in India with 140 crore people is not about everybody taking free healthcare and using Ayushman Bharat. It is very, very important for us to live healthy lives and go less to hospitals. And this is the CEO of a healthcare company speaking. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Thank you.